Do you feel like you're moving? Yes or no?
No, but
No, you see?
Physics and logic on a level supreme. It's a curved reality, splitting Flerf dreams.
Hey folks, how's it going? Curious UK here once again. So I hear this claim quite often from almost all the flat earthers when we're talking about the rotation of the earth. And they always bring up the tangential speed at the equator at about 1,000 to 1,100 miles per hour is how fast the earth spins. Now, that's not actually how you measure rotation. Rotation would be done in like either radians, RPM, or degrees per over time, something like that. So you can say 15 degrees per hour, or you can say 0.00069 RPM. So it really isn't that fast. Now, what 1,000 miles is at the equator, which is the widest part of the Earth, and at the very furthest part of rotation, because you think a sphere, is that in that 15 degrees, it will cover, for 1 point, it'll cover 1,000 miles. So if you watch the sun, and like that, it actually looks like, so it's kind of just to give you an idea. And a lot of flat earthers, when they do bring up, it's like what Lord Jamar, whatever his name is that they say, if we're moving, then why can't we feel it? Or for one, is that we don't have the ability to feel consistent speed. So if there's no acceleration, and I think he even brings up the whole thing of turbulence and stuff. Turbulence is acceleration. If you turbulence, you got turbulent air, you're accelerating up and down. You're up and down. You're moving this way, that way. Or if the plane accelerates, you're feeling the acceleration because it's going faster. Or slowing down, you're feeling deceleration. So a change in speed is what we are able to feel and what sense. That's how our inner ear works, stuff like that. But consistent speed, if you're on, let's say, if you're in the back of a van, no windows, no nothing, van is on a very smooth road, and driving, and you have set your cruise control, you wouldn't be able to tell if you're moving or not moving. You get up, move around like that, you would have no idea without any kind of being able to frame a reference. So the reference yourself, look out the window. If there's a window, you can see stuff going past. You go, oh, I'm moving. Like, say, like on a train, people could go sleep on a train, not even know, other than the fact you could hear the rumbling or stuff like that of the train, but if it was a smooth track, you wouldn't know. So something like a mag train. So I'm going to bring up another example, and unfortunately it's not around anymore, but you do get this with like regular commercial aircraft, and that is the Concorde. The Concorde, I bring this up, is it was a commercial airplane that was did fly, and two, it flies faster than the tangential speed of the Earth at the equator. Now, obviously, you move away from the equator, then that tangential speed is reduces down to get to the poles, which then is 0. But you still are turning at 15 degrees per hour, or 0.00069 RPM. So let's have a look at the Concorde and see if we can get an idea. Now, I think on this Concorde video, they end up going just over 1,300 miles per hour. So more than enough to go even past the flat earthers' claim that we should be able to feel motion, or speed of something moving. So let's have a look and see.
They say the Earth is moving at 1,000 miles per hour.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean around the sun?
That the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, right?
So like I said, that is the tangential speed at the equator, and that would be a frame of reference if you were outside of the Earth system. So say you're floating at the Lagrange point, where you're halfway between the gravitational pull of the Earth and the sun, so that it's balanced. And like the Discover Epic satellite, it's actually Lagrange 1, and so that's why it can stay stationary. And check that out. There's actually, you can go on that and look at videos, and you can actually see it takes a image of the Earth every couple hours, and you can actually watch and see the Earth spin, right? So it's and that this is taking a picture every couple hours, and then this is put together like a time lapse. So yeah, that's quite easily, you can see that. We always ask for videos of the Earth spinning, Yeah, check out the Epic. Epic satellite, discover satellite or whatever, and it shows you're spinning. But if you're in that place there, like that satellite, it witnesses the Earth at the equator turn at 1,000. I think it's just over 1,000 miles per hour, about 1,100 miles per hour, I think. But just once again, just to reiterate, rotation isn't measured in miles per hour. It's the radians or degrees of motion. So you can do 15 degrees per motion, or if you want to do something like a speed, it'd be like 0.00069 RPM. And that is why like your car's engine, like a tachometer, why it's in RPM. We don't measure the engine speed in miles per hour, how fast the engine is spinning, how many rotations it's doing. It still rotates, that crankshaft still moving, the flywheel, all that. So that's why it's in RPM and not in miles per hour.
Just answer yes or no. Do you feel like you're spinning?
Yes, Earth's rotation speed at the equator is approximately 1,000 miles per hour.
Do you feel like you're moving? Yes or no?
No, but I also don't.
No, you see?
But I also don't feel like I'm moving when I'm on a plane.
Now, if you notice, Jamal there was trying to get him to avoid saying that because he knew that was coming up. He knew that completely destroys and falsifies his whole, do you feel you're spinning? I have asked Flerfs this and other people that have, explain to me or show me the organ or the way that we could detect constant motion without a change in velocity or a change in speed, like that. Show me where you could do this. Now, even I said you can say driving a consistent speed, but changing direction is a change in speed. It's a change in motion, and you change acceleration. So you're going forward, you're changing direction. Now you can say, oh, they're spinning, but remember, it's such a slow rate of rotation that we are not able to detect that. And also, we were born on this earth, that it was always still moving, as well as we're adapted. This is our home. This is where humans have always been, first began. And so we are, and everything on this earth is adapted for any of that rotation, that 0.0069 RPM, or 0.00069 RPM. We don't know anything different. We wouldn't know how the earth would feel if it was not. So, according to us, in our reference frame, the ground we're standing on, if you're standing in one spot, even if that ground may be moving compared to something like the sun or other planets, this is all we know, and so we are adapted for the rotation of the earth. It's always been spinning. It's never not been spinning, despite what your fantasy book called the Bible says.
Or a car.
Sure you do.
No, I don't.
Come on, stop it, Vlad.
No, I don't.
You know that you're moving. When you're in a car and a plane, you feel turbulence, you feel bumps.
If there's turbulence,
you know
and bumps.
that you're
but
going
if it's smooth,
forward.
You don't know. I don't feel like.
And here's the difference.
That's right. You only feel that motion as if you're accelerating or it bumps, which now you're having an acceleration up or down, and depending on the bump, if it's a bump or rut, or turbulence, if you're hitting like a high pressure makes you go up, or something, or a pocket high pressure makes you drop, or you're hitting low pressure denser area makes you rise up, or so you're feeling this acceleration up and down forward or back or a vehicle. But if you're in a nice clear, a nice smooth flight, a really nice day, there's not a lot of atmospheric disturbance and stuff like that, or on a really super nice smooth road, like say like the if you're on like the German Autobahn, which is like supposed to be a really super smooth road, that's why they can have such high speeds, then you're not going to feel anything. If you're, like I said, city cruise control on a nice, smooth piece of road, going like that, there's no hills and stuff, then you're not going to feel that motion. Now, yes, you know you're moving because you have windows around you, so you can see stuff going past you, or you know you're moving because you know you're in a car and you know you're moving, because you have this preconception already. But you're not going to feel it, but you can see it. You know what I mean? Like, look out the window. So that's wrong. You don't know you're moving if you woke up in a car blindfolded, and it was driving down the Autobahn and was going at a very consistent speed. You'd have no idea if you're moving, or if you're sitting in a parking lot with the engine running. You'd have no idea.
Here's the difference, right? In a car and in a plane, you are inside of something, right? They are claiming that we are on a ball on the outside of a spinning ball.
Yes.
Held only by a mysterious force called gravity.
Yeah, because gravity does exist. It's not a mysterious force. It's a very, very well understood force. We understand what it does. We understand how to utilize it. We build skyscrapers and large bridges, and a lot of different structural engineering relies on gravity. We know how it works. We know how, what it's going to do. We know orbital mechanics. We know how to send satellites up into the to orbit around the Earth, and we know how at what distance they're going to either need to have some sort of thrust to maybe speed back up to maintain orbit and climb back up to altitude, or where they're going to maybe draw out, we need to bring them down, or we even know how something like the Himari 8 or 9, or like I said, the Discover Epic satellite, that we know exactly at what point where they're going to sit and how they're going to stay. So like the Himari is in a geostationary orbit, so as the Earth rotates, it stays at the same place. So it's always facing, you can see Australia, Japan, stuff like that, because it's a Japanese satellite. It was sent up by JAXA, sorry, not JX, JAXA. Let's say you got the Discovery, which is one that's further out. So it's in the constant, we know it's in the where the Earth's gravitational pull and the Sun's gravitational pull are acting on something equally, called Lagrange point 1, and so it can stay there, and it's not going to go one way or the other, and it's just kind of staying stationary. Or we have something like NOAA's GOES satellites, which then goes east and goes west. They are also kind of in the same geostationary orbit, where they're staying above North America, and they use them for weather and stuff like that. So we understand gravity very, very well. And yes, it does hold the atmosphere to our Earth. 100% it does. And since there's nothing outside the atmosphere, like space and stuff, it's just a void of nothing really in it, then we don't have anything that's going to push against it, other than like solar wind. But then that's where you have the solar wind is particles being thrown at us from the sun, and that's where you have a gravity or magnetic field, which helps us with that. But yeah, so there's nothing that's going to push it away. We're not like sticking a hand out the window of a car, because what you're doing there is now you're moving through an atmosphere. You have an atmosphere, you have wind, you have resistance. Space is nothing. It's a void of very little matter, and so there's not going to be anything that's going to push against our atmosphere. So as well as we orbit the sun one revolution, one time, in 365 days. It's really to do one rotation. So if you go outside your house, or run around the house, but take 1 year to do it, and see how fast it really is.
Okay, so
again, hang on.
Okay.
A scientism term, which, when you remove it, everything else falls apart.
Okay, so
yeah, for some reason Jamar made up this word scientism, because he doesn't understand science or empirical evidence or anything. He's just relying on his delusional fantasy ideologies, and he has no idea what he's talking about. So now we're going to check out a video of from Concorde when it was still flying, and we're going to kind of see what it was like. Just a short flight. It's a short video from a flight in Concorde. So they take off, they head out, get up to about 50-some thousand feet, and they go to Mach 2. So more than fast enough to test Jamar's hypothesis that constant motion you can feel, or that we're going to see things flying. So in that speed, everything should be flying back, water should fly, everything should be heading to the back, everything should be pinned to the back like this, like that on the back wall, right? They must, they don't really need seats. They just got, people just got to stand there because they're all going to be, pinned to a large wall at the back, right? That's, using Jamar's logic that we can feel and should feel that motion. Let's have a look at and see what happens. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon, and load up more videos.
Quite a quick flight time today, 3 hours and 15 minutes. And by the end of our supersonic cruise, we'll be up to about 58,000 feet. As I said, I'll speak to you later. Relax, enjoy the unique Concorde experience. Quickly tell you a little bit about the Concorde takeoff. We have a unique system on this aircraft. We use afterburners for takeoff. You'll know the afterburners are switched in because you may smell a slightly sort of kerosene-y, fumey smell. That is quite normal as well, don't be alarmed by that. That gives us an extra 20% of thrust. It does create an awful lot of noise though, so we do two things off this runway. The first thing we're going to do is that as soon as we're airborne, we're going to make quite a sharp turn to the left to avoid built-up areas. And the second thing we're going to do is switch the afterburners off. So don't be alarmed by that sharp left turn or the quite marked noise reduction soon after takeoff. That is normal Concorde procedure off this runway. And we fly around the edge of Jamaica Bay. And as soon as we're clear of the coast, we'll open the throttles again, right open, and off we climb and accelerate. Next time we use the afterburners is when we want to go supersonic. Need a bit of extra urge to get us through the sound barrier. And we switch them on in pairs so not to upset your champagne glasses. And we quickly go supersonic, passing through Mach 1, the speed of sound at about 30,000 feet. And as long as we're not held down by other traffic, we should be supersonic about 10 minutes after takeoff. When we're doing about 1.5 times the speed of sound, we don't need the afterburners anymore. This airplane can supercruise. It's the only aircraft at the moment that can do that. It maintains supersonic flying without the use of afterburners. All the other supersonic aircraft, military, have to use afterburners continuously. This airplane doesn't. And that's the secret of Concorde, because we carry a high payload a long way. And we reach Mach 2, twice the speed of sound at 50,000 feet, and we maintain that speed. In still air, twice the speed of sound equates to about 1,350 miles an hour, which is considerably faster than a rifle bullet.
Right, so a bit of his information about Concorde, taking off, the flight, kind of what you expect. But also, if you noticed, the person was taking video with using their smartphone or whatever, out the window and stuff. What did you? One thing I did notice that there is no barrel distortion to that lens. Everything looks like level. Everything, all the straight lines. Look at that. It's not using any kind of fisheye or wide-angle lens. So that's just something. Just later on, you'll see where I'm going with this one here. But if you didn't notice, so everything, like, you look out, it looks locally fairly flat, like the runway, everything like that. So yeah, so we'll go with just to kind of point that out. But let's move on. Also, quickly, as he's filming, and they're going for takeoff, they're accelerating. You can see there's a lot of movement, a lot of shaking. So just note that to see how much movement this person is holding this camera compared to later on. Now look at the horizon. Does it look a little bit like this slight curvature there, or maybe it's topography? Let me know in the comments, what do you think?
I think the screens in the cabin will show you about 2,000 feet lower than we actually are for some reason with the So at 2,000 feet to what the sprinters cannot tell you. About to switch the afterburners on again. As I said, we're going to switch them on in pairs. You may feel the airplane give two very small lurches as they fire up. And very soon afterwards, we will be going supersonic, so keep your eyes on the screen. Okay, we're about to switch them on now.
Okay, there we go.
And we're now supersonic. That's 11 minutes after takeoff.
You don't feel a thing, do you?
Oh, look at that. They're in the air. They're well over 20,000 feet. I think they're approaching near the 30,000 feet there. And they're just going Mach 1, 640 miles an hour, I think I said there. And those curtains don't seem to be flying backwards. Or people are getting up and walking around, and you really wouldn't know. I mean, no different than when they're sitting on the ground and the pilot was given a quick run through. So it seems like something's not working out for Jamar here, or any flat earther that claims that we should feel 1,000 miles per hour. I mean, they're getting pretty damn close there. I mean, that's close to where we'd be just, you know, what, north of 45 degrees latitude. So, let's continue on and see what else we see here. Wow, is it me or do I see a slight little curvature to that? Little arching to that. I mean, there's definite topography there. Almost starting to think that when the Concorde we went so high, you could see the curvature of the Earth. As we've seen before, the lens doesn't have any barrel distortion. Nothing was bent when it was on the ground, so that gives us a good indicator on it, doesn't it? Well, let's continue on, see what happens. Oh, well, did you notice that just as that camera, the guy was looking at, the speed on the right-hand side, if you need to go back, that was 1,000 miles per hour. Then he looked down at his flute of champagne sitting right in front of him. And what you notice about that champagne? Now, if anybody knows about champagne flutes, they're not the most stable glass around, especially when they're full of champagne, like that one. But didn't seem to be moving. In fact, I didn't even see that champagne even vibrating. Not even a tiny bit. Not a ripple, nothing. I mean, so you got liquid in there. You have a very tall, thin glass. And yet, it's got 1,000 miles per hour. And there doesn't seem to be any indication that, you know, anything is moving. Almost like conservation of momentum, isn't it? Like one of Newton's laws of motion. Wow. Seems like flat earthers don't understand physics very well, especially Lord Jamar or any of these people that cite this stupid, ridiculous claim that we should feel the Earth's rotation. But let's continue on, because I think this plane can go faster. Well, it seems like they've gone at higher altitude, and well, I seem to be able to see a slight curvature to that horizon going on there. So I think this is a confirmation that the Earth is definitely not flat. Now, what about the claim that we should be able to feel motion of the rotational speed of the Earth at the equator? Wonder how that's going. Let's have a further look and see. Well, that plane is doing 1,300 miles per hour. And did you see that lady walk past? She looked like she's under stress or having any difficulty walking any sort of way. And those curtains still seem to be hanging. You see they move, but they still seem to be hanging there fine. They're not like flying backwards, not sticking straight out at people's face. And yet that plane is going 1,300 miles per hour. So that's faster than the measured tangential speed of the rotation of the Earth at the equator. And yet nobody seems to be having any trouble doing anything, or probably even realize they're going that fast. It wasn't for the massive display at the front of that cabin there that tells them how fast they're going. Weird, isn't it? Almost like flat earthers don't understand what the hell they're talking about.
Rather strange to say, yeah,
What's the starter?
Wow, that wine glass is still sitting there with, actually the flute, champagne flute, still sitting there with champagne in it. And you're not seeing any movement or shaking. It's still, that thin glass is still standing up there. Not a problem. And that plane is going 1,340 miles an hour. And yet, nobody's none the wiser. And it definitely happens. I mean, people, there's a whole plane load there, all experiencing, all seeing it. And there's video evidence. And they're going from one destination to another. And if you look at the destination for where they start off in the land and calculate the speed, that they are definitely going that speed. That is 100% factually true. The Concorde did fly at Mach 2. So don't claim that that's a fake speed and stuff, because the time and distance they covered and the time in which they did it in confirms the speeds. That's why Concorde was such a kind of a thing that it worked so well, that you could cover a lot of distance in a very short amount of time, which is very expensive, unfortunately. But yeah, that seems to be falsifying the flat Earth claim that we should be able to feel the Earth's rotation. Because, well, this is debunked back in the 1980s. If you want to have video evidence, or I think in the 90s, Concorde itself. Sorry, flat Earthers, but your claims don't seem to be holding up to reality.
Well, this is something I didn't expect. We're at 53,000 feet. It's minus 56 degrees outside. And the window is really hot to the touch. You can't almost keep your hand on it.
That's down to the fact of how fast the plane flies, and then just the friction of, even though there's not a lot of air up there, because it's going such a fast speed, that it's causing a bit of heat to the outer skin and those windows and stuff, and that's why you're having that, because the small amount of air you do have out there going fast that quick, then yeah, that friction causes heat. Now, just in case flat earthers claim that that wine flute is fake and glued to that to the tray there, and the fluid in it isn't actually real, but it's plastic, to try to fake, make the conspiracy, because flat earthers like to make all sorts of wild, stupid claims. We're going to check out on this skier. He zooms in on some water that's being served to people, so being poured out, and we're going to check some of the big water bottles there and see what the water is doing in that. Remember, this plane is going over 1,300 miles per hour. In the meantime, that's definitely, I'm going to say, that's a confirmation of the curvature of the Earth showing up right there. So, yeah, that's definitely confirmed. Yep, that stewardess's cart seemed to be having no problem with the fluid in there. Doesn't seem to be shaking, sloshing around, moving, standing up straight. The stewardesses seem to have no problem walking around, even though going Mach 2, and the outside of the skin is quite warm in the plane. But hey, yeah, not a problem. Consistent speed, can we feel it? Nope, we can't, and we're demonstrating that right now.
Well, we've slowed down back below supersonic because there's the ghost.
Where they go, people, that was it. I mean, right there, the flat Earth claim that we should feel the rotation speed of the Earth, the consistent speed of the Earth rotating, has been falsified. Any commercial flight, you can do this. A lot of commercial flights don't go quite as fast as Concorde. They can hit around 5 to maybe 600 miles per hour-ish. But you still get the same effect. You can get up, you can walk around, you can jump up and down, you can sit there and have a meal, have a drink, have a champagne if you're, or some wine if you're in first class. And yeah, nothing's going to shake, nothing like that. So we don't feel consistent motion. If we're in the same reference frame, like instead of plane, car, train, bus, whatever, everything moves the same. You're not going to feel that unless if you can't see outside and it's a very smooth journey. You're not going to be able to feel the motion. You have no idea if you're doing 1 mile an hour or if you're doing 1,340 miles per hour. It's going to be all about the same. So there we go. Falsified flat Earth, showing curvature from Concorde, from the windows, and also falsified the flat Earth claim that we should be able to feel the motion of the Earth. I think that's about it. All debunked and done. And remember, people, Earth is the globe. Space is real. But don't forget, stay curious, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, click the like if you like this button, comment down below, and hit the bell icon so you know when I'm going to be either going live or I'm making a video. Thanks for watching, and see you again.
Stuff like that's why people quit flat Earth, dude. You know? That's why people quit, dude.